Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into literally the most sophisticated, intricate, and honestly fascinating machine on planet Earth, your own body. Right now, your brain, your lungs, your heart, and countless other organs are actively humming away in the background, keeping you alive without you even having to give it a second thought. So, we're going to break down the absolute basics of human physiology and the amazing body systems that make life possible.
Okay, let's take a really quick look at the game plan for today. We'll start with a brief introduction to the field. Then, check out the hardware, our major body systems. After that, we'll dive into the coolant, keeping it all running. And finally, we'll decode the software.
Right, kicking things off with Section 1, Introduction, defining the machine.
So what exactly is human physiology? Well, simply put, it's the science of how living things actually work. When we study this, we're looking at the fundamental nuts and bolts, the physical and chemical processes inside of us. It explains how each individual part of your body does its job, but more importantly, how those parts team up as a unified whole. You know, it's kind of the difference between staring at a pile of scattered car parts on a garage floor and watching a fully assembled engine roaring down the highway.
Now here's a wild little history fact for you. The term physiology was actually coined way back in the 16th century by a French physician named Jean-François Fresnel, and originally he used it specifically just to describe the spinal canal. Kinda crazy, right? From those super specific early origins, the word evolved to encompass the whole shebang, the entire study of the body's normal functions that we recognize today. You see, modern physiology is broken down by scale into 4 distinct but totally overlapping categories. First, we have cell physiology, studying all those microscopic biochemical functions. Then there's special physiology, which zooms in on specific, individual organs. From there, we zoom way out to systemic physiology, looking at entire body systems working in tandem. And finally, and this one is absolutely crucial, pathophysiology, which deals with what happens when diseases come in and disrupt all that normal, healthy function.
Moving right along to Section 2, the hardware, or the body systems. Let's pop the hood.
We are definitely not just a random bag of parts. Our organs, tissues, and cells are brilliantly structured to work together as highly integrated systems. Every single system has a specific job, whether that's growth, metabolism, or reproduction, and they all coordinate to keep us alive. If even one single organ starts slacking, it inevitably creates a domino effect that impacts the efficiency of the other systems too.
Here is the full lineup of our major functional systems. The really mind-blowing part here is their interconnectivity. Take your respiratory system, your nose, windpipe, and lungs, which swaps out oxygen and carbon dioxide. Well, it is 100% reliant on the cardiovascular system, your heart and blood vessels, to actually deliver that oxygen to cells all over your body. Meanwhile, your digestive system is breaking down your lunch for energy, but it absolutely needs the excretory system, like your kidneys, to filter the resulting waste right back out of the blood. It's just this endlessly fascinating, continuous loop of teamwork.
To really appreciate this hardware, let's look at some hard numbers. Take your musculoskeletal system. This is your body's scaffolding. Your framework is built from exactly 206 bones, held firmly together by ligaments with cartilage and joints that allow you to bend and move.
But bones can't move on their own, right? Layered right on top of that skeletal framework, we've got well over 600 muscles, and these guys are working tirelessly. They don't just handle the obvious stuff like moving your arms and legs, they're also responsible for the vital, behind-the-scenes actions, literally helping to circulate your blood and actively pushing food down your digestive tract.
All right, let's shift gears to Section 3, the coolant, looking at our fluid compartments.
This one might actually shock you, but a massive 70% of our total body weight is simply water. 70%. All our body fluids are essentially just water mixed with dissolved ions and molecules. So, for a machine that feels so solid to the touch, we are fundamentally fluid-driven.
Now, physiology categorizes all this fluid based on where it's actually located. Think of your body like a submerged submarine. The intracellular fluid, or ICF, is the liquid enclosed securely inside your cells, kind of like the carefully managed, dry environment inside the submarine's cabins. That makes up about 40% of your body weight. Then you have the extracellular fluid, or ECF. This makes up about 20 to 25% of your body weight and exists entirely outside the cells, like the blood plasma flowing in your veins, where the fluid just sort of sitting in the spaces between your cells.
So, with 206 bones, Over 600 muscles, 10 major organ systems, and all this fluid constantly sloshing around and shifting. It absolutely begs the question, what on earth stops this entire machine from just crashing into utter chaos?
Well, that brings us to our fourth and final section, the software, also known as homeostasis.
Homeostasis is the ultimate balancing act. It's basically the core rule of human physiology. Because our outside world is constantly changing, getting hotter, colder, whatever, our internal environment has to continuously adjust to stay stable. Think of it exactly like a highly advanced smart home thermostat. If a room gets too chilly, the heat automatically kicks on. Homeostasis does exactly this for your body, coordinating all your systems to keep you in a steady, livable state.
Your body pulls off this magic trick through a precise four-step feedback loop. First, there's a stimulus, some variable that causes a change, like a spike in body heat. Second, a sensor detects that change. Third, that sensor shoots a warning signal up to the control center, which is usually your brain. And fourth, the control center triggers an effector, an organ or tissue that actually jumps into action to fix the problem and restore balance.
Let's picture this in real life. Say you step outside on a blazing hot day. The stimulus? Your internal body temperature starts climbing over 37 degrees Celsius. Immediately, nerve cells in your skin and brain act as the sensors, detecting this dangerous heat. They instantly alert the temperature regulatory center in your brain, your control center. The brain then signals the effectors, your sweat glands. You start sweating, the sweat evaporates, your body cools down, and boom, the original problem is solved.
The whole point of these feedback loops is to get your body back to its set points. Think of these as your body's factory settings, the precise physical and chemical targets required to keep you alive. Sweating brings you back to that perfect 37 degrees Celsius, or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Or if you eat a huge meal, your body will pump out hormones to drop your blood glucose right back to its target set point of 70 to 100 milligrams per deciliter. The big takeaway here is that your body is constantly fighting a microscopic, invisible battle to keep your internal numbers exactly where they belong.
It is honestly awe-inspiring when you stop and think about it. This massive symphony of interconnected biology is keeping us alive every single second. Everything from the hard structural scaffolding of your bones, to the fluid coolants, to the brilliant software of homeostasis is working in perfect harmony right now, just as you sit there. Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder. As you go about your day today, what other unseen marvels are happening inside your ultimate machine right now? Keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next explainer.